Morning, Dad.
Hey, going for a run?
Yeah, you should join me like you used to.
Not with my old knees and back.
Try Xanthicin. It could really help. Plus, it's super safe, Dad, and it's good for your heart and brain.
Xanthicin fights aging with astaxanthin, nature's most powerful antioxidant. And with 3 times the absorption and superior purity, it's the brand physicians trust. Find it at getxantho.com and these retailers. Keep doing what you love with Xanthicin.
All right, how's it going, everybody? It is episode 43 here on Hawaii Football Now, presented by Xanthicin. Big mahalo also to our other sponsors, Spectrum Mobile and Hawaii USA Federal Credit Union. We record this episode 43, at about 3:09 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon. Set to release this on Thursday morning, June 23rd, in just a couple of days' time. Jordan Helly, Hunter Hughes, excited to be back with you. Hunter is had to pump the Xanthicin because he is busy this week. This is why we're usually recording, which we usually record in the morning. Instead, we're recording in the afternoon because, my friend, you've got a busy week, and we know you need to keep the energy up. And our good friends at Xanthicin, they're good at that.
Big time. Jordan, I don't know if you've heard about this amazing supplement called astaxanthin. Doctors and pharmacists recommend it for everything from joint and muscle function to cholesterol health and cognitive function, even anti-aging. And as you mentioned, I'm out in the sun a lot this week, so I could use all the help there that I could get. But did you know that only one brand delivers 3 times more astaxanthin to your body, making it a better buy than the competition? Introducing Xanthicin, available at getxantho.com, Newtown Square Pharmacy, Down to Earth Kaka'ako, GNC stores, and PharmaCare Hawaii. Learn more at getxantho.com.
Love it.
Jordan.
Absolutely love it.
I could use as much as I could right now because this is Manoa Cup week, baby.
That's right. That's right. And we'll get into that here in just a little bit because there are some University of Hawaii ties, University of Hawaii football ties as well, beyond just our guy Hunter here. But as we get into the opening drive segment of this episode of the pod, again, thanks everybody for tuning in all summer long as well, sort of the dog days of summer here for us on Hawaii Football Now. We did want to give a shout out to our colleague here at the university, at ESPN Honolulu, who covers University of Hawaii sports, who has covered University of Hawaii sports for decades now. And that's our guy, Bobby Curran, announced last week on his own show that he is going through some health stuff. It was pretty candid about that. We didn't necessarily have to get into the details. He is looking to better himself. Obviously had stepped away already as the radio voice for the University of Hawaii football team, but looking to continue on with the basketball program, his morning show as well. Once he's back, he is ready to go. We know it's not an easy road ahead for Bobby, but boy, we send our best to him, his family, and he is one tough dude, man. And again, we wish him all the best and in his recovery here, and we look forward to hearing him on the airwaves again very, very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bobby's a staple in our business, Jordan, of radio personnel and sports radio here locally. I mean, all the best to him and his family. We wish him a speedy recovery. Don't like to hear that happening to anybody, but especially someone so close to home. So nothing but love and aloha to Mr. Bobby Curran.
Yeah, and Bobby, in a lot of ways, man, he's kind of a trailblazer, right? His coverage of University of Hawaii football, bringing that to the masses, synonymous, I would say, with all of the success that the program has had over the years, and quite honestly, building up the support for the program, building up the interest for the program. And, without guys like Bobby, like a podcast like ours, where we're doing weekly, even during the summer episodes, like more or less focused on University of Hawaii football. Like, yeah, I mean, we wouldn't, there's no way we'd have a show like this if it wasn't for Bobby, right? And all the work he's put in over the, again, decades. And all the best to Bobby. We are looking forward to hearing him on the airwaves once again, and taking all of your crazy falls and bringing you all the action on the hardwood as well, which is obviously a few months down the line. So big shouts to Bobby. And of course, as we
absolutely.
Sorry, Hunter, go ahead.
Bad. No, you broke up, Jordan. Sorry about that. I've gotten to meet Bobby on a handful of occasions, and everybody on the team just loves the way that he calls games. And I know we're transitioning elsewhere with the Veneri brothers, but he's a legend. We want to give him all of the respect that he deserves, man. Absolute legend from our part.
Yeah, best to Bobby. Get well soon, my man. All right, no easy transition out of that, but we do transition now into our game time segment. Pretty wide open show. Wanted to get to some of your comments as we move throughout as well. We seem to have figured out, we had a little issue on the YouTube comments, got a little confusing. We think we have sorted that out thanks to our guys on the technical side. But before we get into that, we like to touch on golf on this show, in part because my man Hunter is a player, man. I don't know if you guys are aware, but he's got quite the game, quite the confidence to match. And it's Manoa Cup week, so this is big, right? Monday was the stroke play portion for seeding. What is it, 64 guys? What's the bracket look like?
That's right. So about 90, 95 participants for 64 spots. Generally, it looks like the cut is usually close to 79, 80. Oahu Country Club hosts the tournament. They have for about the last 100 years. Yeah, I mean, the best players in the state come out to play in Manoa Cup. So it's game time for me, man, right now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's one of the storied, biggest tradition tournaments in Hawaii sports history. Like the sheer history and number of years of the Manoa Cup, and you break into the match play. And so you got started today, right? Today was the first day of match play.
That's exactly right, man. Today was first round of match play. I thankfully qualified with an even par 71 yesterday, which gave me a 13 overall seed. And then played a golfer from Hawaii Pacific's golf team, actually, Jordan. His name's Gavin Holland, originally from Tennessee. And man, he gave me my money's worth, man.
Yeah, I heard it, maybe match of the day type stuff. I
don't know if I go that far. There were some other good matches out there today, but man, he gave me my money's worth. That $225 entry fee, I think I burned it in the first round right there. I felt pretty good. I was 2 up through 15, and then my guy just started pulling shots out of his Akole, man. It was unbelievable. Draining long par putts. He made a birdie on 17, and we went into to 18 all square, man. I felt the nerves in my hands, man. It was nerve-wracking for sure.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how many of the matches today got decided on 18.
That's a great question, actually. I'm not sure how many actually went the distance. There might have been a couple that went overtime, but yeah, I thankfully, oh my goodness, I was so relieved to see that par drop on 18 and closed him out. But yeah, nothing but thankfulness to Mr. Gavin. He played unbelievable, and match play, anything can happen. So it's just staying in the tournament, staying happy, staying positive, because if you hit a bad shot, you just go to the next hole. It's kind of a beautiful format for my style of play, because all these guys are much better golfers than me. Let me just put it that way. I definitely ride on the perseverance, stick in there. If we still have holes left, feel like we have a chance. That's my whole mindset, and try to lean on some of that Hawaii football perseverance that a walk-on myself kind of had to learn the hard way. But man, all these kids can play, so I'm just thankful to see another day, for real.
There you go. How many years have you been playing it now?
This is my 4th Manoa Cup. The first one I played in 2018. I actually made it to the Final Four. Got close there, really close. And then 2019, I was getting back from France from playing football. Game was not in good shape, but made it to match play. It's about all we could say about 2019. And then last year made it to the Elite 8. So I work there, Jordan. I work at Oahu Country Club. So this is my
little home course advantage.
Absolutely. I mean, that place is just so beloved in my heart. I love it. I know the course like the back of my hand. And when the wind is blowing and the greens are rolled like they are right now, that place plays incredibly tough. So I feel like I have a leg up on the competition, because man, all these guys are if they're not the best high school players out here, that they all are playing at the collegiate level, Division I. So I need all the help I can get against these guys.
Yeah, there's some ballers for sure. And we mentioned some of the University of Hawaii connections. I know you had a former University of Hawaii player on the bag last year, if I'm not mistaken, in Tumua Tuine, who's gone on to some other things beyond the football and golf caddying career. But who's on the bag this year? I'm going to imagine it's not Tumua. The guy's kind of busy.
That's right.
You know, we'd love to get him on the show, but he's got a lot of engagements these days. But who's on the bag for you this year?
Yeah, unfortunately, Tamua is on tour in Arizona right now. Shout out if you guys are in Arizona listening, go to Tamua's show. The man is hilarious, and Hawaii football connection there without a doubt. So yeah, he couldn't make it this year, but if I make it to Thursday, Cole McDonald will be on the bag because Cole is coming into town. To try out for the XFL this Saturday. So,
That's right. Saturday at McKinley.
Yeah, if I can make it through tomorrow, Cole will be on the bag by the time this episode airs on Thursday. So big incentives there for sure.
Oh yeah, we got to be pulling for you. If we can get Cole McDonald out there preparing for the XFL tryout by caddying for Hunter Hughes in the Manoa Cup, that would be something. So Thursday would be round of 16. Do I have my math correct? What am I talking about?
Tomorrow's round of 32.
32, so 16. All right. So yeah,
exactly
Sweet 16 on Thursday. All right.
That's that Maui math over there, bro. You know
Yeah. We divide by 2, baby. Don't forget to carry the remainder there. That would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah. Give our best to Cole. Obviously, he and a number of other guys will be over at McKinley, including The Rock. Dwayne Johnson's supposed to be there for the tryout, and we gave everybody who listens to the pod a ample amount of head time a couple of weeks ago that if you thought, look, man, my time to shine is still on the horizon, chance to get in shape, chance to get loose, stretch, make sure you don't pull anything, get some wind sprints in, and we gave the public advance notice that Saturday's the day.
That's exactly right. I even myself, I got a couple of phone calls like, hey, did you know there's an XFL tryout? And I'm like, I don't know if I can outthrow Cole right now, man. So I don't even know why I would show up. So Cole's definitely got the advantage on me, height-wise, arm talent-wise, and looks-wise, obviously. So I think he's got the triple threat going in his favor there for the XFL. So yeah, all the best to him when he comes in this week.
Yeah, we'll have a little bit on that next week. See who maybe does well at the XFL tryout. Hopefully Hunter will be busy on Saturday as well, perhaps with some tee times to get to if the week goes well for Hunter on the bag at the course, and perhaps with Cole McDonald on the bag there. So we'll be sure to get some updates in, and we'll get your recap next week, Hunter, after your run at the Manoa Cup as well.
For sure, man. Yeah. Thank you to you, Jordan, all the love and respect from everyone at home. A lot of our listeners are actually members of the course. Appreciate you guys letting us use the Country Club as our home facility for the Manoa Cup. For all of us amateur players out there, we really appreciate it. We have a great time at that facility. So thank you and aloha.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. And one of the storied events in Hawaii sports, no doubt about it. All right, transitioning once again, a little topic as we move through the first half here. The Jared Ursua interview, great job, by the way, Hunter, last week running that interview solo. Appreciate that, as I wasn't able to make it. But, had a lot of good feedback. A lot of folks, I think, and I think people have just resonated. A few of these guys on the show, and whether it's local guys or guys returning back to Hawaii, right? And obviously Jared Ursua kind of fits both. Right. Having grown up on the west side of the Big Island, had spent at this point, kind of the majority of his life now up in Utah from his playing days now through his coaching days. It's not like he's an old guy, but he'd spent, better part of almost 20 years up there in Utah. And now he gets to come home. And I think it's just, it's just something relatable about these guys to the folks. And it's just talking to people who got a chance to watch the interview. You asked him about it being kind of a homecoming, and I think that shines through, and these guys know the work and the task at hand. But it's just there's something about seeing Hawaii sort of represented within the coaching staff, right? A lot of these local fans are like, hey, I remember that kid when he was growing up in Kona. I remember him when he was playing football. And there's a little something to that, I think. And that seems to be an undercurrent of positivity for this group.
Yeah. And I think for Coach Ursua, he has a very unique place with Hawaii in that he's John Ursua's brother and kind of bridges this gap between old Hawaii and new Hawaii football, where, I mean, John's the last receiver of ours to go decently high in the draft, getting drafted in the 7th round. We haven't had a receiver do that in a long time. Very admirable to see what John has done at the next level. Great representation for our state, our team, and Coach Ursua. I mean, he's just a good guy, Jordan. I want to be friends with him outside of here. I think we're planning to play golf at some point. But yeah, he's what you want from a Hawaii football coach. He has that love, he has that aloha, he has the local connection with Big Island, and obviously what's going on with him and his connection back in Utah. It's good stuff and everything that you kind of want to expect from a Hawaii position coach.
Yeah, and the other thing that I wanted more, one of the other things that I found pretty interesting, and this has been very consistent, I would say, in all the coaches that we've talked to, and now we've kind of balanced it out. It was a lot of defensive coaches in the beginning when we started to get some of them as guests on the pod. Now we've hit a few offensive coaches now, obviously with Coach Shoemaker and now with Coach Ursua. But to a man, they are very. I think there is a humble pragmatism to them, where look, they acknowledge a lot of the positive things that that is surrounding this program. But one thing that I think they have been very honest about is that there still a lot of work to be done, and the acknowledgement that look, it has to result in something, right? And that something is really just wins. Yes. Right. And that's the nature of the business. And we've even, I mean, you go back to Coach Yoro and talking about, how blessed he feels to be at home coaching for the University of Hawaii. But as he put it, basically, right, they got to win games for him to continue coaching and living at home in Hawaii. And so, I think the way Coach Ursua put it is, we're at the base of the mountain still for them, right? They're sort of laying the foundation, the base camp, but they still got to scale the mountain in a lot of ways. And it, it's maybe not unique to this staff, but it is kind of nice to see how grounded they are sort of across the board and acknowledging sort of the reality of it all. Right. I mean, it's not going to be an easy task. Like I think going out there expecting them to win 9-10 games or something like that would be over the moon. But it kind of strikes me, all of them that we've talked to basically so far in some form or fashion has kind of touched on that. And I just kind of wondering, what you take away from that, Hunter, in just sort of that recurring theme amongst all the coaches that we've gotten a chance to talk story with.
Yeah, I mean, a few things come to mind. First and foremost, it's just hard to win at the Division I level. You've got top tier athletes, top tier coaches. Even if we are in the Mountain West and, we're in the group of 5, we're not quite at the Power 5 level. Everyone is biting at the bit to try and whether it's players trying to get to the next level, transferring to a bigger program, getting an opportunity at the NFL. People are hungry at this level. Coaches too, from whatever they are able to accomplish here, they're always, look at what's happened this last couple of years, even to us with Hawaii football. People are always looking to jump to the next level. And so to have these coaches have that kind of humility about them, first of all, I think is awesome being here in Hawaii. You have to have a humble spirit really for you to be successful out here. If you don't have that, it's just not going to work out well for you. And then the other thing is the dismal state that Hawaii football was in just 6 months ago, Jordan. I mean, it was an absolute circus that was on fire with people screaming. Obviously that's very metaphorical. I'm glad no one was actually, injured or hurt in the whole process, but it was ugly, man. Hawaii football was in bad shape not that long ago. And it's as good as you could probably hope to expect from the down part of the Hawaii football year, now that it's in summer right now, what we've seen in the past 6 months with recruiting, with spring ball, a phenomenal spring game, unbelievable recruiting efforts on social media, and the response by players, by families, by the local community out here, the response by local businesses. It's been fantastic. But on top of that, at the end of the day, you got to win football games. You are judged by how you win on the field. So I really appreciate their humility. But again, they've done a phenomenal job thus far, 6 months into their campaign with Coach Chang.
Yeah, and I think I think resurrection was maybe a term we've used in the past, and I do think, as you pointed out, it's not necessarily from like a win-loss standpoint. Like the last 2 years weren't unsuccessful on the field, right? In a bowl game, a win over a good Houston program in 2020, a bowl berth last year, even though it was a 6 and 7 year. I think it was a little underachieving in terms of win losses, just based on the talent level and the results on the field at 6 and 7. But it wasn't like it was an 0-12 year, say, as in 1998, but it was so much more than that. And I think that's why almost it was more concerning, right? Was just the state of disarray that things were in around January, right? Just where the program was at. And that was, I think, a large part of the concern for a lot of people, inside and outside of the program, especially from fans, is, hey, look, like, it's not like we weren't winning football games, or at least it wasn't like it was a terrible win-loss record on the field, but yet there was all of this going on, right? And that almost, to me, is a little more concerning, because, like, hey, look, if all of that was going on and they were 1-11 or something, or 1-12, and you're like, all right, well, yeah, of course people are going to be unhappy. But the reviving of things, I think, had to do with everything off the field more than anything, right? There were other things going on and whatnot, but so much of that had to do with just getting the identity of the program sort of back, getting positive relations within the community. And we've talked about this so many different times in different ways. In obviously, being allowed to go out in the community is a huge thing, right? And we'll talk a little bit about some of those things, because some pretty cool stuff going on over the weekend for Father's Day, and some community service type stuff from the group. But yeah, it was so much more than just X's and O's, so much more than just finding the right offense, finding the right defense. It was more than that. That's part of it, don't get me wrong, but a large part of it was just finding a way to, and again, wherever you want to lay the blame, it was bad in January, right? I mean, the head coach resigned. Like, you had a senatorial inquiry. Like, it was again, you can point the finger at a number of different people, but it was bad. And so to get all of these coaches to kind of bring it back home, but feel free to take it however you want, Hunter, but just to get a coaching staff that seems to be very together. Like, they seem to really have a firm understanding of what Timmy Chang as the head coach is instilling here. And again, that's so much more than just X's and O's and things like that. But it's nice to see, right? And that doesn't necessarily have to be a juxtaposition with a previous coaching staff or something like that. But it's positive. It's cool to see, and I think it's encouraging.
Yeah, definitely. And I typically like to bring things away from football, but I'm going to bring it back to football just for a second. I mean, when you look at where everybody that entered the transfer portal, where people ended up, we had a stinking good football team this last year. And had, Coach Graham and those guys gone 10-3, 9-4, and we were battling for a Mountain West championship, they would probably excuse a lot of the stuff that was happening off the field. But the fact was, we had a great team with talent on both sides of the football. Like, the strength of the Rolo era's recruiting ability was full force in front of them with what we had on our roster this last year. I mean, we're talking about Cincinnati, UCLA, Oklahoma, and then obviously Chevron Cordero, the other one, going to San Jose State, a conference rivalry. We had phenomenal talent that can play at other places, even on a tier above us. if you're a coach and your job is to do well with the pieces that are, you are given, they didn't do a great job. Let's just be honest right then and there. Sure, you have COVID, you have other things that aren't your fault, but man, we could have done better this last year. And with everything that we're kind of seeing, it feels like we're churning up some momentum heading into this fall for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. Look, the talent is undeniable. What was there last year? I mean, you just look at the number of guys who transferred to Power 5 schools, and I'm including Cincinnati in that with Nick Mordner.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's and obviously you're with what Chevron Cordero at San Jose State, but all, Oklahoma, USC, UCLA, some other stops. It's the talent is there for sure. Some other things that I was kind of curious to ask you about in particular, Hunter. You guys talked about PRPs, player run practices. Like it's summertime, right? So it's kind of the dog days, very transitional. You're out of spring practice, so you don't get the hands-on necessary teaching that you saw there. You're bringing in some guys who came in once the semester was over, right? Via transfer, via enrollment, all those kinds of the technicalities there. And so a lot of these things end up falling to some of these player run activities. I'm just kind of curious, as a guy who's gone through this, kind of walk us through that, what gets done in those, how it's an opportunity maybe to build some leaders, build some chemistry, without the coaches necessarily being there for all of this.
Without completely, throwing our school and our team under the bus, Hawaii is able to actually ride a pretty unique line with player run practices, with the situating of our coaches' offices right above the turf. Even though they are not there, they are very much watching the practice and very much involved. So they usually hand you a script. They want everybody to go out there. It's usually 7-on-7. Usually you get the O-line in there to do, some sort of work. I mean, they're really just out there to wave at their coach to make sure that they're not out doing something else. But yeah, they usually are texting somebody, hey, get him in on this route, get him in on this rep right here. They aren't at practice, but from a subconscious back end sake, they are definitely a part of what's going on over there. It's a unique situation though, because PRPs are technically voluntary, but they're not voluntary. It speaks very loud if you don't come to PRPs, especially if you're battling for a job. I mean, what are you doing? And so, yeah, it's supposed to be player ran. The people that are in communication with the coaches are usually, the seniors or the captains or the main guys that are involved on the offensive defensive side of the ball. And then, people are trying to take care of each other at this point of the year. You're not really going 100%. You're going about 75. If there is any sort of contact, you're really trying to look out for each other. And if there are guys going too hard or being too intense, that's the mood out there is, hey, chill, bro. We got another 3 months before we even go to camp. So let's just, and usually you got freshmen that you're trying to tap the brakes a little bit because they're eager, they're trying to prove themselves. So it's a unique time of the year. You're kind of laying off on lifting really heavy right now. You're really emphasizing on running a lot of conditioning, trying to stay in shape. But this is kind of the time of the year where you get to see your family, coaches included. I got to kind of talk with Coach Ursua about that, where this is a downtime of the year where you kind of get reset and refocused because fall comes quick and fall is long. So good time of the year for UH football.
Yeah, no doubt. We're a little over 2 months away from the opening game, right? I mean, it's June 21st as we record this, 23rd. When this episode comes out, and then August 27th is not that far in the distance for this group. One last note that I wanted to kind of bring up with you, Hunter, before we hit the halftime here. Offensive identity. And it's funny because we talked to Coach Shoemaker, very similar sort of response when we asked him about it. And I loved how Jared put it. He said, we're unapologetically looking not to be branded. There's some double negatives in there and whatnot. But you get it, right? It's like, hey, look, we're not trying to put a label on this thing.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're afraid of commitment or anything. It's just he he put it bluntly, right? The game is constantly evolving. And so you're going to have all of these different wrinkles, and Coach Shoemaker talked about it in all of his different stops at lower levels, and the success that he had at EWASH. I thought it was interesting too. It didn't dawn on me, but those two guys coached against each other in the Big Sky at Eastern Washington, Shoemaker, and then obviously in Ursua's couple of stops at Southern Utah and Weber. And so he's familiar, right? He's familiar with what they were doing in Cheney and putting up all those points. Like, it can look a few different ways, but as long as it scores points and as long as you're keeping the defense off balance, like, call it whatever you want. So I thought that was kind of interesting, unapologetically looking to not be branded, right? I think I'm excited. I'm excited. And they're also not going to tell us too much, right? But not that we blame them. You're not trying to tip your hand, especially when you're a brand new coaching staff. But I kind of smirked at that because I know what he's talking about, and it kind of just gets me excited to see whatever the heck they're cooking up.
That's right. And there is some advantage to unity between the team and the outside community, boosters and things like that. There's something unique about Hawaii in that we know that we're the run and shoot offense. At least we were, for however many years. There's that kind of understanding, and people who don't know football talk as if they get to know football because they're like, yeah, run and shoot. We score a lot of points. At the end of the day, the offense needs to be a closed door room, in my opinion, like making decisions in there, calling plays, knowing schemes, what they want to do to attack a defense. I'm a fan as long as everyone's on page. One week it could be the veer. Next week it could be a pro style. Another week it could be run and shoot, spread offense, West Coast, this or that. It really doesn't matter as long as you're scoring points. And one thing you and I know, Jordan, when we were talking with Coach Shoemaker, that guy knows football and he knows how to score points. So I feel really good with the coaching staff that's there, and I like that they're not putting themselves in a corner that they don't really need to yet, right at the beginning of their campaign.
Yeah, it really is. And again, look, if you can put points on the board, that's money in the bank. That's excitement, and that's hopefully W's for this group, going forward. All right, that'll kind of do it for us here on the opening half of episode 43. Speaking of money in the bank, if you got some money you need to put in the bank, be sure to check out our good friends over at Hawaii USA Federal Credit Union, Hawaii's largest credit union committed to serving individuals and businesses through its 14 branch locations statewide and convenient digital banking services as well. A leader in providing support for the islands, Hawaii USA is committed to strengthening Hawaii's financial wellness and sharing successes with members, local businesses, and the greater community. Originally opened in 1936 as a credit union for educators, Hawaii USA has inspired a culture of giving that is rooted in education and has since expanded to other areas of community need that impact financial health, including healthcare, housing, and hunger. To learn more, please visit hawaiiusafcu.com. All right, second half, and to close things out when we return.
This is Hawaii Football Now from ESPN Honolulu.
All right, second half here on Hawaii Football Now. Jordan and Hunter back with you. Kind of a little popcorn style, some interesting things of note regarding University of Hawaii alumni and the team currently as well, getting in some community service stuff over the weekend. North of the border, we talked about Drew Brown last week on this show. Didn't see any action in Winnipeg's victory over Ottawa 19-12. Zach Collaros is their quarterback, by the way, a former Cincinnati standout. Ottawa, the Redblacks, quarterback by Jeremiah Masoli, who's still in the league all these years. Right? Remember when he was playing for June over in Hamilton? He's still going.
Moniz was on that roster too.
Yeah, amazing. All the Hawaii connections up in the CFL, including Ryan Meskell, who's a reserve kicker with the Edmonton Elks up in the CFL. A really cool story last week, picked up by a couple of outlets. I saw it on KHON, among others. But he's wearing number 41 in honor of his former teammate, Giant Sanitoa, with the Rainbow Warriors. Some pretty cool stuff there. But yeah, we're going to turn this into, we got to make sure we get our CFL updates in, because you can catch a lot of the games on ESPN online and whatnot. So, we always keep a close eye. Plus it's summer. There's not a whole lot else going on. CFL, it's part of the excitement.
Oh yeah. Big time. Over on the Ocho, right, Jordan? if not the Ocho, then
Lance Armstrong's doing the pregame.
yeah. But no, seriously, I'll shout out to the boys. Both of those guys are great friends and teammates of mine, Ryan and Drew. Having, good careers, great opportunities up there north of the border. Another just great outlet for us to kind of talk about right here, Jordan, that if it doesn't work out at the NFL, you can still have other opportunities in other places to play the game that you love. I try to encourage that wherever I go. I played in France, and Ryan was playing goalie for a soccer team down in Australia for the last 2 years during COVID, and then got the call from Edmonton just this past winter and wanted to see if he wanted to come up and make some kicks for him. So yeah, and then on top of that, to honor another teammate of mine, Cheyenne, with the number 41 is pretty stinking cool. Cheyenne was taken from us, unfortunately, and tragically and suddenly. And for us to kind of honor him as former teammates, former brothers with Hawaii football is pretty special.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And I think just goes to show you how tight knit some of these teams have been, and the lasting, friendships and relationships that are built through this program. It is really cool. It is really touching, and it is international, right? We talk about Australians in Canada honoring, a Polynesian brother who they played together in Hawaii. If that's not Hawaii football,
And Cheyenne was from Samoa.
You're right. Yeah, exactly. It's man, it is chicken skin in a lot of ways. A couple of other notes, current team doing some cool stuff. I know you took notice, Hunter. Jonah Kahavai Welch was over at the Plaza in Moanalua assisted living facility on Father's Day, sharing some of his experiences, connecting. You had a couple of, I guess more than a couple, a handful of guys down in the Lo'i, Kahana Cultural Living, helping build the literal foundations for some taro patches. Yeah. You had some players down out there. It's just nice to see, and we realized the last couple of years, a lot of these opportunities just weren't possible, right? Because of all the COVID restrictions and whatnot. But now that things have opened up enough where these guys can get out there, it is cool to see them out in the community and connecting in different ways.
Big time. I mean, that's what makes this place special. We don't have another pro sport. We don't have what other places might. And this is the team's ability to connect with the greater public and vice versa. And, for the Howley guys in those pictures, I mean, we really I'm speaking for all the Howleys, that play for University of Hawaii, by the way. We appreciate getting welcomed into cultural, significant experiences like that, getting to be down in a Lo'i farm and in the mud and the muck and feeling like you're giving back, even if you might be doing it completely wrong. It's always special, and it feels like you are a part of this place. It's bigger than football here. We always talk about that, and it's cool to see the boys participating because it's summertime. They could be doing other stuff.
Yeah, it really is. And just a little time, right? Just a few hours here and there, it can make a huge difference, right? Yeah. And we've seen the community give back, sort of the reciprocity, right? We see the Brotherhood Grinds program, it's all kind of coming around, which is really, really cool. And one last note here before we hit the overtime segment. Speaking of coming back around, I thought this was really cool. Former University of Hawaii television voice, Robert Kikaula, longtime legendary broadcaster, musician, actor, everything in between, for KITV, for Spectrum Sports television coverage of University of Hawaii football. KITV announced just the other day that they are instituting a Robert Kikaula Fellowship, entry-level position for young, entry-level, up-and-coming broadcast journalists that want about the profession. It's a paid halftime position. You can go check it out on KITV's website, kitv.com. But it is in memoriam of Robert Kekala. It is in his name, and carry on that legacy. It is aimed for Native Hawaiians or those born and raised in Hawaii. Must be a full-time college enrolled student. So it's geared towards the next generation. It is geared towards the next generation of Native Hawaiian broadcasters as well. And I just thought that was really cool. And another guy who is synonymous with University of Hawaii football from his time, covering the team on the radio for ESPN Honolulu, to his time on television with Spectrum Sports, to the Aloha shirts that were broadcast into households across the country, via the streaming services. This was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And Big Rob was a friend of mine, and even tried to get me a similar position with KITV4. Just always looking out, always wanting to give back. And he was a presence that was hard to miss down at practice, not just for his voice and his persona, but the dude was big, and you can't teach big, Jordan.
Larger than life.
Man, tough to miss that dude. And every time you saw him down there, you wanted to take the time to go over, give him a hug, shake his massive hands. And he was kind of that bridge for a lot of guys. I'll speak for a lot of my teammates that he was the bridge for our team and the greater community with the way that he represented us here and abroad. So really cool opportunity out there. If you know someone that might be a good fit for that, throw it out to him. This is kind of allowing Rob to continue to carry out his mission, even beyond the grave. So all the best. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well put. A friend of many, friend of the program. Yeah. And a guy that is dearly, dearly missed, no doubt about that. All right, wrapping things up, we go to the overtime segment. Anything else that you wanted to touch on, Hunter, before we wrap this thing up?
I don't know about you, Jordan, but I would not join the Saudi League for golf. I'm staying with the PGA Tour if I was at that level. I don't know about you, man. It's kind of a fun thing to ask my buddies. I asked my brother earlier. My brother said he's joining the Live Tour. But as for me, I'm sticking with the PGA Tour, man. I don't know what you got for overtime.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't realize it was Live because it's like 54 in Roman numerals, as in they play 54 hole tournaments, and 54 would be 18 under par on a 72.
They're trying too hard. That's what I know.
That's I agree. Trying a little too hard. Might last a little more perhaps. Yeah. As this will come out on Thursday, this will come out on Thursday, June 23rd, which is the exact date of the 50th anniversary of the enactment of Title IX, which of course it was renamed the Patsy T. Mink Equal Opportunity and Education Act. Patsy Mink, of course, the 12-term congresswoman from Hawaii. She's from Paia, Maui. She's a Maui High School graduate, was the driving force behind that legislation, which it goes well beyond sports in terms of equal opportunity access to education. But when you boil it down to athletics in particular, like it's the most important piece of legislation in athletics that has ever been passed, and obviously for women's athletics and beyond. And she was a Hawaii girl, right? And the ties to Hawaii, the direct links, and just a titan, and really just you want to talk about historical figures and whatnot. Patsy Mink is the best of them, and just wanted to kind of shout that out. I know there have been a lot of commemorations going on around the state, different entities and whatnot, but 50 years of Title IX and just the tremendous impact that it has made in sports in particular, but well beyond that, when it comes to holding institutions accountable for sexual harassment, sexual assault, equating financial aid, scholarship opportunities, employment opportunities, all of that and above. Patsy Mink, her fingerprints are all over that.
Yeah, this is an unsolicited plug here, by the way. My good friend actually made a documentary about Title IX and its significance here with Hawaii and Hawaii athletics. It's called Rise of the Wahine. If you wanted to look that up for people listening at home right now. Phenomenal story. Title IX is as connected to University of Hawaii as anything else. I mean, the other person that was extremely influential in this was Dr. Donis Thompson, who acted as the co-athletic director during that kind of 70s run that Coach Shoji started winning national championships with that team. So unbelievable story right there. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. Rise of the Wahine. It's really significant to our school, our state, and NCAA as a whole. It's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the intertwined layers of the University of Hawaii athletics program, Title IX, Hawaii high school sports, and the amount of offerings that are offered up here in Hawaii, it's second to none when you look at states across the country. So yeah, just wanted to make a mention of that. Well, this will be released on the 23rd, which is 50 years to the day of that monumental piece of legislation, and now known as the Patsy T. Mink Equal Opportunity and Education Act. So it's pretty cool stuff. All right, that'll do it for us. Big thanks to our guy Jared on the controls, my guy Hunter. Best of luck. We hope that when this episode airs, you will be somewhere, maybe closing out a match with Cole McDonald on the bag. But we'll keep everybody posted on that. Big mahalo to our sponsors as well: Xanthison, Spectrum Mobile, and Hawaii USA Federal Credit Union as well. Have a great weekend, everybody. Aloha.
You've been listening to Hawaii Football Now with Jordan Helly and Hunter Hughes, all from ESPN Honolulu.